I'm going to do a quick video on literal equations today, which can be kind of difficult because you have a lot of different options. A lot of different things can arise. You have to really go back into a lot of your math skill set and see about what your options are. So for this one, we're going to solve for x. Now, if you want to pause the video and try them before I do them, that would be probably the best idea to see if you're ready. I'm going to use the Smartboard Promethean board for the first time, which is not my usual, but we'll see how it works. Okay, now on this one, I think the first thing that would hit my mind, and don't be afraid to try different things and see if they work, and if they don't work, that's why we have an eraser, and we'll go back and try it again. That's why we do math in pencil. I'm going to try first, I think, on this one to distribute the 4 into both sides. So I wind up with 4x minus 4b equals x. Now, since the coefficients of the x are both numbers, I can combine them. I couldn't combine them if this was a 4x and this was a bx. Really, that would be more difficult. So I'll subtract 4x on both sides, and I'll be left with negative 4b equals negative 3x, because 1 minus 4 is a negative 3. Now remember, I'm trying to get x alone, not b alone, so I'm going to divide both sides out by the negative 3. And I'm left with x equals, now be careful. You have a negative divided by a negative. I see a lot of errors on that. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, so 4b over 3, so that's your answer. Just definitely be careful of that. Okay, so that was probably the quickest, easiest method on that one. Let's take a look at another one. Now on this one, I'm trying to solve for x. I could factor the c out, but if I do that, I think that's going to make it harder for me on this one. And if you tried that first and then you said, oh no, I'm stuck, pull out your eraser and just try again. Try something else that works, okay? If at first you don't succeed, try again on these. All right, let's try subtracting the c from both sides so that I'm kind of isolating that xc at least. I'm trying to solve for x. So I have s minus c equals xc. Okay. Now I want to get x alone. I'll divide c on both sides since I'm just moving the c. And I'm left with x equals s minus c over c. Now this is where we start to run into errors of trying to break it down. So let's pull out what our answer is. Our answer is s minus c over c equals x. You can simplify this and make it into something with the different fractions. Well, s over c, remember this denominator doesn't play favorites. It has to go into both pieces, both parts of the binomial numerator. So we can leave this as SC, since that doesn't divide in. We can't do anything with that. Minus, now c divided by c is 1. So we could leave this answer as s over c minus 1 equals x if we wanted to kind of break it down a little bit more. And yes, we need the 1. It's really important. Even if it was a plus 1, we would still need to have him. Okay, let's take a look at a different variation of problem. And again, if you want to try to pause first and try it, we're solving for r. This is generally pretty easy. The only problem is that when I divide both sides by pi, because I'm trying to get r alone, I'm going to wind up with an r squared equals a over pi. Now, I don't want r squared, I want r. So we learned when we were talking about exponents and radicals in the beginning of September that if I just square root both sides, whenever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. That's our rule of math, that the square root of r squared is going to be r. And I have r over equals square root of a over pi. And that takes care of that exponent of 2 and leaves it just a regular r, which is what I'm looking for since I'm solving for r. So if I ever have a r squared, I could just square root it to make it easier. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Now, this is the one that I find everyone makes errors on, so why don't you pause and try it first. Okay, so the problem here is that if you start moving things around, like if you subtracted 2a from both sides, or you subtracted ba from both sides, it's not going to help you. So since they both have a, and a is what I'm solving for, that is what usually signals to me that I have to factor. And again, it's because I'm solving for the a and they both have a. So I'm going to pull a out. I'm going to factor out a. Let me leave m equals here. Just leave that there. If I pull a out of 2a and b, I've done some basic factoring. So I left with a, 2 plus b. Okay, now I'm trying to solve for a. Well, I have a alone now at least, which is great. So if I divide both sides by 2 plus b, divide both sides by 2 plus b, this side it will cancel out. You can put parentheses around the bottom if it makes you feel better. And I'm left with a equals m over 2 plus b. And I would just probably leave that. I wouldn't start breaking it up. I mean, I know some of you are thinking, let me pick this and let me just go m over 2 plus m over b. Just leave that one. It's not like I could really reduce anything anyway. Okay, hope that helps.